Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Supervisor Myers?
Present.
Trustee Fian?
Present.
Trustee Ofer?
Present.
Trustee Kruzak?
Present.
Trustee Kalis?
Present.
Thank you. For the record, Karen will not be in attendance, and I have not heard from Commissioner Trevivo tonight. I would like to, before we go forward, I think we have a couple of things I'd like to take care of before the planned agenda. First, I've noticed there is no item listed on our agenda allowing for public input tonight, and I would like to suggest that we follow the township's traditional guidelines allowing for public input, and we should amend the agenda accordingly. Do I hear such a motion to do so?
I'll make that motion. I'll second it. Everybody second.
Do I hear a motion to, let's try this all over again, a motion to the amend the agenda, and where would you like to locate the public input?
4B.
Okay, so I hear a motion from Trustee Kruzak
I'll second.
to amend the agenda to allow public input at item 4B on the regularly scheduled agenda. Okay, and we have a second from Trustee Kalis.
Yes.
Does anybody have any objections? Otherwise, I would say all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. The next thing, I just would like to just give a little bit of background before we move into the meeting. This special meeting is necessary as a result of an informal meeting I was asked to attend on July 15th of 2020 with Highway Commissioner DeVivo, Homer Glen Mayor Yukich, and Village Manager Fraley. During the meeting, the Commissioner advised that he had previously hired an attorney and was for some time working together with the village to develop a plan to create a village public works department that would, in essence, replace the current intergovernmental agreement with the Homer Township Highway Department and arrange to transfer the department's assets and properties to the village of Homer Glen. Further, the village representatives indicated that they were prepared to accept the transfer of assets and to adopt a levy to fund the Homer Glen Public Works Department by the end of the year, around December. Upon just being made aware of these plans, I indicated there were many legalities and unanswered questions at that time. It was agreed that I would present the information to the Township Board and that another legal opinion would be acquired. I think it's important at this point to state that the Township has enjoyed a very good relationship, not only with the village, but with the Highway Department and its employees over a very long time. We have taken pride that together, all of our employees have done a phenomenal job providing good, fiscally responsible, and necessary services to our community. However, we are reacting upon a request from the village and the commissioner to implement change. It's no surprise that at some point in time, the village incorporated in 2001 would consider internally providing various services on their own without contracting or through intergovernmental agreements. The next very important steps are to seek the input of the residents of our communities and to establish the legal mechanisms to develop viable plans. The final thing, and speaking with our township attorney, Schrammick, regarding this matter, We believe it is in the township's best interest to engage the services of a law firm with the resources and experience necessary to assist us all moving forward. And at this point, I would ask that we move on to the agenda, resume the agenda, discussion and potential action on the hiring of Homer Glen. How do we want to proceed?
Well, obviously, we need a motion to accept. I will make that motion to accept Ansel Klink as attorney on this matter.
We have a motion from Kruzak. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
A second from Kalis. Is there discussion on the motion? Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kruzak?
Yes.
Trustee Kalis?
Yes.
Supervisor Myers?
Yes.
Trustee Fian?
Yes.
Trustee Alford?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. At this time, I'm sorry, we don't have facilities to have an executive session while you are all still here. I believe we will have next on the agenda, we will need a motion to go into an executive session. I would ask all of you, please do not leave. If it's possible, I know it's not the best weather, could you maybe sit in your cars and we'll make a motion when we come out of executive session so that you all can participate in the balance of the meeting.
Suggested you all go outside and make the meeting go faster.
Nice try, Dave. I will make that motion
To go into
enter
executive session.
session.
Motion by Kruzak, do I hear a
Sorry,
second?
you need to specify a motion,
Oh.
motion under the open meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Follow the agenda, John.
I'm sorry. I'll make a motion to enter an executive session. A public body may hold.
No,
No. In
A. For
A, motion required entering closed meeting. I didn't bring my glasses in. For the purpose of the probable or imminent litigation.
We have a motion by Kruzak, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Fian. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
So you have me now?
Well, not quite yet, because we're waiting to make sure that the recorder is on, and we have to go back into, let's see, do we have to do a motion to come back into regular session?
No, you can just take roll call.
Okay, so it is 7:59, and we are back in regular session. Will the clerk do a roll call? For the record, no action was taken in executive session.
Trustee Kruzak?
Present.
Trustee Kalis?
Present.
Supervisor Myers?
Yes.
Trustee Fian?
Yes.
Trustee Alford?
Yes.
So we'll be back in. Mr. Van Dyke, you are listed first to
Yeah.
speak if you would like to.
Well, two things. First of all, I kind of stumbled on the agenda for this meeting, and I wanted to lay it out that how satisfied I was with Mike and the highway department and their service to those of us that live in the city of Lockport, but are also in Homer Township, and that was giving it some thought about not knowing what had transpired up to this point. I wonder what's going on. There's so few miles of railroad that they're responsible for, and say that on one hand that I would like to have my taxes go down and not pay anything to the township highway department. But on the other hand, we did work out a deal, and it was, I think, an equitable deal where they did do some of the Lockport streets, and for that I was appreciative and wanted to say that there's at least one of us that it is. The other thing I wanted to raise is with the coronavirus hitting us and the schools closing, we had an early exposure to the dirt bikers and the ATVers that go on the east side of Lockport and on the west side of 355 and the south side of 151st Street and north of 159th. And many of these kids, and the overwhelming majority of them are kids, come through the city of Lockport, through the paved streets. I've raised some objections. They're noisy, and I can see that that would be like a fun kind of thing. But many of you probably remember when there was a death in that area, and it was these kids that were driving like kids do. It's my understanding that it's private property. When the Lockport City Police come out, their observation is that there's not much they can do. The kids see the cop car coming and they'll evade them, and they're a lot more maneuverable. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of it. It is private property. I don't believe it's posted, no trespassing. The Lockport Police have told me that the owner does not want people on there, but they continue. And I'm asking that you ask the Sheriff's Department to get involved and maybe coordinate with the City of Lockport Police Department and see if something can be done. If indeed the property owner does not want them on, I would suggest that posting no trespassing might put some teeth in what the police are trying to do. So.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it is duly noted. We also experienced this at any of the public properties too, not only the open space, but the parks and stuff too. Actually, cars as well. We've had Trustee Kalis could speak to that. In one of our main parks, we've had kids or people. I don't know exactly, but just laying, tearing up sod and doing stuff. It is a challenge, and the police can't be everywhere, but. We have had a good relationship with the Will County Sheriffs, and they will try to police as much as they can. They express to us that I can and I will. We will explain to them what you have relayed to us. They ask not only us, but residents and stuff to phone them. They have a non-emergency number, maybe the property owner as well. And let them know that the area and what activities are going on, and they can, especially if they're out there at the time. That makes it so much easier, especially because the sheriffs in the unincorporated area. I mean, one time we had a call out at Trentina. That poor guy came 40 miles for the call. It was vandalism, but he had to come 40 miles for the call. So if they are aware, and like I said, we can tell them, but they would much rather talk to the directly impacted parties. That would help them.
Well, so who would I call on the Sheriff's Department?
You can call the non-emergency number. I believe it might even actually be on our website too, but you can call my office and get it and explain, the situation. And they, I don't know exactly, I mean, they're not going to put out reports, but they do have watch areas as best they can, manpower-wise. And the City of Lockport, I believe they work very well together. It's been my understanding that the city police and the county police many times mutual aid and work together. So, but it's just kind of, it's not, but it's kind of like community policing helps a little bit for them, the eyes and ears on the street kind of thing too. So that might be something.
Yeah, and I speak for many of my neighbors, and that one of the neighbors tried to follow them, or at least one of them, and they went all the way through to basically the canal area.
Wow.
They lived somewhere around there.
Wow.
They're driving on the street, and like kids, I mean, it's a motorized vehicle, and try to see how fast it goes.
Right.
But it's, all it's gonna take is somebody
Yeah.
driving
No, I
out the
agree.
driveway and clip them and.
Yeah. No, and I don't want to cut you short, but I do know that there have been instances where these vehicles are not authorized to be on the street, and they've been, the departments will take them, and they've got to pay a fine and come in. So, but it takes help because they're not capable, the police are generally not capable of just putting manpower in one place, looking for it. So it helps if they're advised when it's happening. And even an anonymous, many times I've talked to some of the Will County Police, and they say, if people are nervous, even an anonymous call if something's going on, they can respond to it. So
If you'll follow up.
I will make a
I will
motion
also.
on that area, yes,
Very good.
and thank you. Mr. Fleming?
Just a question on the road district. The village owns so many miles of road, and the township owns so many miles of road. And then there's some unincorporated and incorporated. Can you break down what the village owns, what the township owns, mileage, number-wise?
Well, as far as, I don't know all the particulars of it. I have a general idea that there's, over 100 road miles in the territory of the village of Homer Glen. I don't know the other numbers, and I believe that the road district, it varies, and I don't have the exact number, but somewhere around 18 road miles.
For the road district. Does that include incorporated?
No, unincorporated. I thought that's what you were asking, unincorporated.
Only unincorporated areas that would be affected by any of this would be, are the 18 miles, right, of unincorporated Homer Township.
Mr. Trevik, I'm not sure I understand your question.
So what I'm saying, so unincorporated roads of Homer Township is only about approximately 16 to 18 miles, right? Versus the 130 some the village has, and then whatever Homer Township Lockport has, I don't know either.
Yeah, and I don't know the 130 number is correct either. You're asking what about that, though? Are you asking me to confirm the numbers?
No, I was just confirming that. So strictly unincorporated Homer Township roads are approximately 18 miles.
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay. That'll conclude our public input portion. Let's go back to our agenda. We're at action item 5A, which is discussion and potential action on a resolution regarding the abolition of road district, of the Homer Township Road District. Would anybody want to make a motion for the sake of discussion, or how would we progress? How would we like to proceed?
There should be a motion in a second, and then we can discuss why this is on the agenda.
Do I hear such a motion?
Make the motion.
We have I'm sorry, trustee Kalis, is that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we
Yes,
have
I'm sorry.
a motion from trustee Kalis. Do we have a second?
You should specify what the
What the
motion
motion is?
Yeah, say your motion.
I didn't hear the motion.
For the clerk, please, Ed.
I'm sorry, what the motion is for the,
To adopt a resolution.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh,
I don't have the,
You need to state your motion is to adopt a
do we
resolution.
have this?
Yeah, he does have, don't you have the?
okay, I'll make the motion to adopt the resolution regarding, that abolishing of the road district.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you have a motion.
Mhm.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kalis, a second by Kruzak. Is there discussion on the motion?
Well, I think you should explain kind of, because I'm sure everybody's confused like we were prior to coming into this meeting, on what this abomination, what it actually means too. Because I know the question was from Mr. Draybeck on these 18 miles, or if someone's going to be left hanging. Technically, this doesn't mean that we're going to stop doing the roads. It doesn't mean that at all. So it was brought to our attention, and maybe Pam, you would probably be better at explaining.
Rather than me, I would say that Attorney Christopher might take a stab at this.
Yeah. So I just want to clarify some things to start out with. So first of all, the township does have like 16 to 18 miles of road in unincorporated areas of the township. Some of those are in Homer Glen, some of those are in Lockport, some of them are in New Lenox, some of them are in Lamont, okay? So the job of the road district is to maintain those roads. Now, what the road district has also done upon occasion is enter into intergovernmental agreements with other municipalities to provide road services for them. So they would pay funds to the road district, and then the road district would maintain roads, for example, in Homer Glen or whatever. On July 15th, some representatives from the village of Homer Glen approached the township supervisor along with the highway commissioner and said that it was the highway commissioner's plan to convey all the roads in the unincorporated area to the village, to give the village all the assets of the road district, which were paid for taxpayers in all of these municipalities and all of the township, and that basically they would enter into a stewardship agreement. Now, we believe that there are many portions of the proposal that are actually illegal. We do not believe that the highway commissioner has the ability to just give property to a municipality without selling it or having it valued or without approval of the electors, because in township government, in order to get rid of property, it has to be approved by the electors of the township. There's no proposal to bring it before the electors. And he was going to sign over all of the assets of the road district, which were purchased by funds from everybody in the township, just give those to the village of Homer Glen. And then that leaves questions for the township about, well, does Homer Glen understand they're going to be actually then taking over maintenance of roads in Lockport and New Lenox and Lamont? That seems strange. And apparently the village is planning to levy a public works tax or to issue bonds so that Homer Glen would then pay for all of that, which is fine. That doesn't really involve, if Homer Glen wants to impose a tax to pay for the maintenance of Homer Glen roads, that's fine. But there's still these unincorporated roads, and we have just questions about the legality of all of this, which is why we were in closed session to discuss probable or imminent litigation. Now, litigation is never the best thing to have taxpayers litigating, because then you have lawyers involved making money, and the taxpayers are paying for all of that. So what we are believing would be the best thing would be, there's a mechanism that the General Assembly recently passed that a township board can take over the operations of the road district. Because we're also hearing rumors that a part of this deal, no one knows what's going to happen to the road district employees, the road district buildings, and we're hearing that maybe a part of this would be that the highway commissioner would then become a village employee working for the village. So basically, he would get a benefit from signing over a contract to turn over all this property to the road district, which raises significant concerns about the legality of that, because you cannot sign a document where you have an interest in. So to ensure that all of these roads will be continued to be maintained and plowed and everything, the township board has the option to put a question on the ballot asking the electors, what do you think? Should we keep the road district the way that it is, or should the township take over it and have a road department continuing with all the assets and all the roads as it is, and or then allowing the township board to negotiate with the village to come up with some kind of legal agreement to actually have the electors convey the roads, if the electors want to do this, to the village, so that there's just an open and transparent process here, so that the electors know what's going on, the taxpayers know what's going on, and there's nothing being done in secret backroom meetings. So this proposal isn't to just abolish the road district and it goes away and nobody takes care of the roads. It's to abolish the road district and turn over all the assets to the township board so that the township board can continue running the roads until there's some other agreement with not only Homer Glen, but the other municipalities and the other unincorporated residents about what's happening with their roads. So this would put the question on the November ballot for the electors to make that decision. In the meantime, the township would talk to the village about its concerns about the legalities of this proposal that was brought forward, and also have educational, informational meetings for the electors so they understand what this is all about.
Excuse me, may I ask a question? You were talking in the beginning about the township, the potential would be there to sell the equipment to the village. Well, in effect, don't the taxpayers already own that equipment? Because you were also saying that the village is going to impose a tax should they take over the highway department. They already do pay a tax. It's just funneled through the township to the highway district, and we pay that tax. So the idea that something that equipment that taxpayers already paid for because they are residents of Homer Glen, Homer Township, now have to pay for it again because the equipment's going to be given to the village is ridiculous. And the idea that the village would impose a tax for the for now taking over the highway department, it's not on that tax line on our tax paperwork, but it's there. We do pay a tax to the township for that service already. So whether it goes from this line to that line, doesn't matter, we're still paying it, no matter how you try and shuffle it around.
Well, I mean, one of the issues is that you're right. I mean, the residents of the road district of the township pay for that equipment. That's not just Homer Glen. So you have people from all of the other areas in Homer Township that pay taxes to go to this equipment that's now going to go to Homer Glen.
Right, and then Homer Glen will take care of those roads also.
We don't know.
No, but you're trying to scare people into thinking that.
No, we.
Okay, I think you're out of order to
Of
accuse
course.
people of, well, of course, but you are saying that we're trying to scare people and we're trying to do, nobody's trying to do anything.
No,
We're trying to answer
By
questions.
any means.
You're telling me, you're sitting here telling this meeting that the village might impose another tax.
We just know what the village told us.
God forbid that would happen, and it's
We
not
only
true.
You must be
did
listening to
what
what
the
you just wanna
village
hear.
told us.
No, I'm listening
We
very
only
well.
are relating what the village told us. And I understand, Regina, since your husband works for the village, that
Which has
you
nothing to
take
do with
this
it,
very
we're
personal
taxpayers.
and may have other information than we do. But the reality of it is we're just trying to share the information that was presented to us. The village has presented this to us in the same format and even in a little written note.
And did you tell them that you're gonna charge them for all that equipment then?
We didn't say that
You
we were
just
going
said
to
it.
do that here. No.
Yeah, she just
What,
did.
did you say you were going to charge anybody for equipment?
You brought up the
Can we
thought,
re-roll the tapes? I don't remember a discussion that
you
anybody
brought up the
was doing.
thought that the potential was down the road, as you're talking back and
No.
forth.
Is trying to make
No.
an agreement,
So
a
The
potential.
potential
What's-
is following the state statutes.
Okay, what's your purpose to do with
No.
that equipment then?
We have no purpose. We have not implemented this. This is something that the village has brought to us on July 15th for the first time. And it was told to me that the village and the highway commissioner have been working on this for quite some time. And in fact, the highway commissioner hired an attorney unbeknownst to this board to do that same thing. Now, I don't know the answers. I'm in the same position as all of you are, which is exactly why we are trying to have this brought out into the public, why we are trying to find a mechanism to move forward that would do it in a legal way and that would get the input from all of the people of Homer Township who will be impacted by this. And we cannot answer what the village intends to do other than what they told us. I don't know what the village intends to do, or if they're gonna levy taxes or how. They just have told us that they are going to levy a tax, and they hope to do so by December. That is exactly what they told us. Nobody's trying to scare anybody. I'm simply relating the information that was presented that way to me on July 15th. It is now July 22nd, okay? So all I can tell you is the little bit of information that we have. However, our goal is to follow township statutes because regardless of the intergovernmental agreement, the village does not have ownership of the assets or the equipment. The township does. And the village and the township may have different legal statutes, and I don't know the villages, I don't know all that. All we're trying to do is follow what we are required to do under the statutes for townships, because that is a township property, and work with the village and the city and everybody who will be impacted by this to see what kind of potential will happen down the road if the residents wish to abolish the district and have the township board work in that light. The only other thing, you could go into, what happens when you abolish. I think at one point there would not be a highway commissioner elected anymore. So this statute came from a consolidation process where we hear many times there's so many layers of government. This was a step to start bringing some of that together too. There's no scare tactics here. This is all that we know at this point, and that's all I know what to say.
What's going to happen if this is voted on tonight and approved? Can you give me a time frame? What's the next step? And then also, what's going to happen to the employees of the road district?
Yeah, we don't know.
Well, so
You're
basically,
voting here.
No.
no, all this would do is this would put the question on the ballot for the electors to decide whether or not the road district was going to be abolished and taken over by the township.
And when will that be? November?
So if it were passed, it may not. If it were passed, it would not actually be effective until the end.
May 18th of
The road
21.
district, the highway commissioner's term, at the end of his term. So that expires in May of 2021.
Okay.
Technically, John, this is why we wanted to have this meeting, to hire this attorney who is involved in township government. We want to do it legally and in the open and knowing everything. I didn't know. I know Dick had reached out to try to talk to me about questions that I didn't even know until tonight.
Neither did we.
Yeah, nobody
none
knew
of us
because it
did.
got thrown at Supervisor Pam on the 15th. And the proper thing is to do is to have a special meeting. Let's talk about it. Let's hire a law firm that specializes in this, and let's move forward. The forward that we feel is the best is to put it on referendum so that the community can vote on it, and there will be information from now until November. There will be information on how this technically plays out, and we've got options on which way to go with this. So we're not selling
And
anything now.
we
We're
wanna
not
know what
giving
you
things
all
away.
think.
So
Yeah.
continuing on with the timeline, if everything goes as you're planning, if you're voting on it tonight, the earliest there'll be some removal of township employees will be May?
Well, there wouldn't even necessarily be removal of township employees, okay? So what would happen is they would vote on it in November. If they vote no, it's not going to be abolished, everything would continue the same as usual. If Homer Glen is going to try to proceed with its plans, we're going to have to talk to their attorneys because we believe that the highway commissioner just can't give away property like he's planning to do. If it passes, this kind of referendum has passed in other townships. So for example, I'm working with Avon Township in Lake County right now because they already passed the referendum and they're in the process of taking over their road district. And so what we have to figure out is, okay, are we going to hire a road superintendent now that was performing the functions of the highway commissioner? I think if they have experienced road employees, we would probably keep them because the township is still going to have the obligation to maintain all of the roads in the unincorporated area.
We're just
It's
trying
not
to do
like,
it the
it's not like
right
the
way.
responsibility would go away. It's just that a lot of times, there gets to be, Illinois has more units of local government than any other state in the nation. And so when people look at their tax bills, they're like, why do we have all these taxing bodies? This would eliminate the road district as a taxing body. The taxes would be funneled through the townships. What a lot of townships find, when they take over the road district functions, there's a cost savings. Because now you don't have to have a highway commissioner. You don't need him on IMRF. You can hire a road superintendent for less than that. And so they look at ways that they can streamline the services. They can also look into continuing intergovernmental agreements with Homer Glen or Lockport or Lennox or whoever wants to do it, because there's a lot of cost savings when there's intergovernmental cooperation. But that's what they would have to study. If the electors voted on this in April or November to abolish it, it would be abolished like effective the third week of May. We'd have to work on all of those issues during that 6-month period to try to make sure that we're doing it in a thoughtful, careful way. We're not putting employees out on the street in the middle of a pandemic on top of a time of civil unrest. So.
I think it's just the word abolish is very confusing to a lot of people.
And that's the language the
That's the
statute.
language.
Yeah, that's the language the statute
Say that very
requires.
well.
Yeah.
Even the verdict on the referenda requires that language, and it is true. It is a scary term. Yes.
You said just something brief, our thoughts, like my thought, if it were to happen and the village were to take it over, I would never expect, I wouldn't think the village would leave New Lenox or Lamont and whatever part of Lockport High. I'm sure they either take the tax levy or they would charge them to do their streets. I wouldn't think they'd be leaving them high and dry, by no means. No municipality would do it, including the township.
Well, but see, the problem isn't what, again, nobody's opposed to the village creating their own public works and, road department or whatever. I think we all knew that the township's relationship with the village has been to allow a new fledgling village to have an opportunity. The joke has always been amongst all of us is, first they have to crawl and then they can walk. I mean, it was a big undertaking, taking over. The intergovernmental agreement worked in that capacity. I don't personally think that the intergovernmental agreement is bad, because I do believe that it does save a lot of money. I believe it's a very cost-effective thing, but it doesn't matter what I believe. If the village feels that they are ready to start their public works department, then that's not really for township to make any decisions about. It's how we go about it, how we divide assets, how all of the residents who are impacted, besides the village of Homer Glen, how they're all affected. And our goal is to do it in a way that is already legal and prescribed in the statutes, rather than taking a chance on, we may have found a loophole and we may be subject to litigation. We don't know the answers yet of exactly which employees what, all those things. There's employees, there's assets, there's so many things. And also the fact that it was presented to me that they wish to have this all accomplished and be levying by December. That doesn't give us a lot of time to work out all these details and stuff either. So this is a way really to, to do it from what we already know is a statutory way to start the process, and then we can continue to work with all the entities to try and find the best way moving forward.
Maybe, for example, maybe Lockport would want the Lockport roads instead of giving those to Homer Glen,
Well, if I might, it seemed to me that you're leaving, 4 entities out when you're talking about who's going to decide how the pie is going to be cut up.
Right.
And that is somebody representing Lockport, New Lenox, and what was the other?
Unincorporated, well, us would be the unincorporated, because we weren't included in these decisions. This was presented to me on the 15th, and so the township even though I believe you're right that they would try to cover unincorporated roads or try to provide services, can they legally do it? They still have questions about how they can legally do it. And, you know, once this thing starts taking place and you find out, for example, that maybe this was illegal, now what are we supposed to do? Let's just say that everybody agreed and Homer Glen should get everything. What if something fell apart and we still had to provide the road service to the unincorporated? What if something went illegally and we have nothing? We have no equipment, we have nothing. No tax levy, you know, nothing
Yeah.
to do this. So we have to look at it from that respect, you know?
And part of the stewardship agreement is just like, well, we're going to take over the assets, we're going to take over the work. There's not a mechanism for the township to turn over their levy to the village. So the village is going to impose their own levy, but the township could still impose a levy to take care of other roads within the township. So they're just presuming if they take over and impose a levy in Homer Glen to take care of all of these roads, that the township then wouldn't have the obligation to do that. But that's not like clear as a matter of law.
So there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I wish we knew exactly. I mean, it's not a position I would like to be in, you know, that all of a sudden, you know, we have to move forward and we don't have all the answers to the question. As you guys complain about me all the time, you know, I might go look at every little detail of every little thing, try to go through the laws. This isn't the way that I would do it. But again, it has nothing to do with us if the village wants to create their own public works department, and this doesn't stop that at all. This referenda has nothing to do with that.
I just have one last question now. What is the urgency of this? We just found out last week that you found out, but you guys are abolishing something that's been around forever, and then you're saying you just found out last week.
Well, the urgency for us is the deadlines for getting it on the ballot.
That's the
Is that the urgency to get it on the ballot?
Yeah.
Right.
For a referendum?
We have to meet
Yeah.
that
So the
deadline.
people can decide.
Oh,
Well,
that
That's
is
why
what,
we're
that is
having
why.
this meeting. We're trying to share with you as much as we know. Yes, we wish, that's what I said, we wish we did not have to be working within this time frame. We actually wish, if I understand all the board members and myself, we actually wish that we would have been included in these earlier discussions a long, long time ago, so we would have known what was going on. But we weren't, and we have what we have, and
It got dropped in our lap on the 11th hour, so what do we do? This is the proper legal way that we feel to do this.
All right.
wait, one moment, please.
Just a
Mr. Chairman.
procedural question. Rather than putting on a ballot, couldn't this be done at a special town meeting?
Couldn't what be done?
The vote.
No, I don't
No.
believe so. I believe that the statutes clearly
Statute
say it
calls
must
for
be done by
That
referendum.
was my question.
Yep.
I would rather have 45,000 be able to vote on it than 14 people.
Well,
On
but
anything, especially
Well,
of that magnitude.
again, the
They
attorneys,
still have the ability to show up and vote.
yeah, again, the attorneys have answered, it has to be done
Okay.
by referendum.
So the question is that needs to be clarified, I think, for me, that who is eligible to vote on the referendum?
All of Homer Township residents.
That's, the legitimacy for that is you're the ones that have paid the taxes to support this operation and should be the ones who decide whether it changes in a dramatic fashion.
Yes.
Now, what's the general feeling for the residents of Homer Glen about something like this?
Well, I'm thinking that they're going to be learning about it now.
I don't even know if the village board has
They don't know.
discussed it at an open meeting.
This is not, to the best of my knowledge, been brought forth in any village meeting, perhaps in executive session, but not in the public. I only know what I know since July 15th, but I don't know how the residents, we don't know how anybody, is going to feel, which is our goal, to know how everybody is going to feel by the election in November. How do the people, what do the people feel? What do they want to do?
Well, preferably before the election, so you have some idea about what to expect and how to deal with it.
I agree.
before
It
the
would be ideal if
Yeah.
we could do more earlier.
That there's, 26,000 people that live in Homer Glen?
I don't know the current census. I know that there was 25
that.
in 2010, and then I believe that there's 40 to 50,000 total in the township.
Okay, so there's another 20,000 people.
Yeah, our attorney is still going to work with their attorneys up into obviously the referendum to get a lot of this stuff. Because we might get 2 months into this and go, this ain't gonna work. No way is it gonna work, and
Right. I was
It's
told
tough.
that Mr. DeVivo's attorney would not speak to me unless I had an attorney present. So
Mhm.
that's why the board is moving in the action in the direction they're moving.
So is Mr. DeVivo still in charge of the current operation?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Would
All
be
the way
until
till May.
the expiration of his term, under normal, under any normal circumstances. Even if it was a negative or positive, whatever the results of the referendum, he would continue his term until its expiration. It is my understanding he is not intending to run again.
Well, why put yourself through that pain and if you're just gonna step into another job?
I don't know. I don't know the answer. I just know that these are the things that were brought to my attention in this meeting.
Well,
Okay, we good?
Okay, thank you, guys. I hope that we at least, I know this isn't our normal protocol, but this is a very unusual circumstance, and we wanted everybody to have a chance to ask questions and do our best as we could to answer as much as we know. So, we have a motion, we have a second. This concludes our discussion, public input. I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Trustee Fian,
Yes.
Trustee Oldberg,
Yes.
Supervisor Myers,
Yes,
Trustee Kalis,
Yes.
Trustee Kruzak.
Yes.
motion carries.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Kruzak, a second by Alford. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Saying nobody? It is,
37.
8:37?
I'll go with that.
Yes.
8:37.
38, 37.